My 6-year friendship just fell apart after we moved in together, and I'm out $2,000.
You know, it happens.
It happens.
Sue him.
A quick summary before we get into the thick of it. I moved in with a good friend. She left in the middle of our lease, guilted me into letting a random girl take over her room despite promises that she'd cover the rent if we didn't find someone I like. That girl trashed the house, and now I'm out $2,000, and the friend is probably in a cult.
Oh.
To start at the beginning, I guess. I, 24 female, got a job in a new city in March 2023. And while I was looking for apartments, the stars aligned. And one of my best friends and former roommates, also 24 female, from college, got a job in the same area. For the purposes of this story, I'll give her a fake name. Megan. Megan asked if I wanted to be roommates, and I was absolutely thrilled. We had been best friends for 6 years. This would be my first time renting a place post-college, and I was so excited to have someone to do that with instead of having to figure it out on my own. I have a lot of social anxiety, and this friend tended to bring me out of my shell and include me in social things as well, so I was excited to live with her again. Because we were roommates in college, I also wasn't worried about it becoming one of those, surprise, your good friend is actually bad to live with situations.
Yeah.
There was some roommate drama when we lived together with 2 other girls in college, but I thought everyone left on good terms, so I wasn't stressed about that aspect. Boy, was I wrong.
Uh-oh.
We found a house and signed a lease for a 2-bedroom starting in July. Her job started in August, and I had been staying with family nearby until this point. Living together started out a little awkward, but I chalked it up to the fact that we hadn't really hung out in person for about a year. And also that in interactions with people, I almost always leave feeling awkward about things I said/did anyway. So it wasn't that abnormal a feeling for me. The strangeness started to evolve pretty quickly, though. The following tangents might sound a little off topic from the bad roommate situation, but it all comes back together, I promise.
Ooh, I promise.
Tangent number 1, the boyfriend. Megan moved in pretty immediately after a week-long trip to visit her sister in another state. The sister had introduced her to this guy who went to their church. And Megan came back from that trip basically ready to marry him and have children. I understand being infatuated with someone quickly, and Megan had a tendency to make big, impulsive decisions sometimes. So I just tried to be happy for her and supportive, even though in my head I was like, weird. Pretty quickly, it seemed like her relationship with him got incredibly intense. Almost any time I was home, she'd be in her room on FaceTime with him. Every conversation was about him. She constantly talked about missing him so much, no matter how recently they'd see each other. One time, the 2 of us went thrift shopping together, and we separated to look at separate sections. And when we came back together, she was on the phone with him already. That's just one example. But that was the vibe. He was just constantly present, whether literally on the phone or in conversation.
If you like him so much, why don't you just marry him?
I think that is her plan. I maybe should have given my opinion at this point that it felt like she was rushing into things a little bit, and I wanted her to be careful. But I didn't. I was a tiny bit hurt because I would have preferred to hang out more, but I wanted to be supportive, and I figured she was just excited about the potential of this new relationship, so I just focused on my job. I'm a drama teacher, actually so is Megan, and I often stay after school for long amounts of time to work on shows. I was pretty exhausted most of the time anyway, so we just existed in the same space. I would normally come home, she'd be on the phone, I'd eat and watch a TV episode, then go lay down. Oops, I did it again.
Okay, Brittany.
Should be able to switch.
I did it
Nice.
again.
That was a good one.
Thank you. I'm just from the 90s or early 2000s. Sorry.
Yeah.
Then some red flags from the boyfriend started to become apparent to me. At this point, maybe a month into the relationship, she seemed dead set on marrying this guy.
Oh.
So I was afraid to speak up about anything he said. I told myself if there was anything undeniable that he brought up, then I would voice my concerns to her. I now believe that even if I had said something about him in the beginning, it would not have been received well by Megan and might have even made this whole mess worse in the long run. She probably, if she was that, attached to him, she probably wouldn't have listened to OP.
Yeah, do you think is it worth like, hey, here's my honest opinions on it, or is it just like, leave it?
I think if she ever brings him up, which we know that she does, you can just be like, hey, it seems like we're, I don't want you to get hurt. Just be careful.
Be like, shut the F up.
Don't
About
talk to
Todd.
me. Don't talk to him at all, ever.
I don't care.
Anyway, here are some examples of things I noticed. One time he came to visit and I was in the other room. I overheard them talking about my Dungeons and Dragons stuff that I had left on the TV cabinet. He asked about it and she said it was mine and that she never got involved with that stuff. Both of them implying that it was weird/nerdy.
I love D&D.
Get out.
Get out.
Get out.
Leave.
I don't want you here. You're
Roll D20.
boring. You're freaking boring.
Yeah.
I didn't like this because Megan had played D&D with me and our other friends before and had enjoyed it. I was hurt at the same time because it seemed like she was minimizing my nerdy interests to seem cool to this new boyfriend when before this, she had been not only chill with me being a nerd, but was also interested in those things herself. Anyone who thinks nerdy things are like bad, like, are you stuck in the 2000s?
Dude, yeah, it's like anyone who is like trying to like act cool around like a partner or someone they're dating in their adult years is absolutely
So
freaking
uncool.
whack.
If anyone, if I'm talking to anyone and I'm like, oh my God, I love D&D, and they're like, isn't that for nerds? I'm like,
Damn straight it is.
are you a
Bye-bye.
freaking
Yeah.
boring loser?
Oh,
Because you need to get a life and stop trying to please people around you.
I'm gonna get my goblins to get you out of here.
Yeah,
That's
you're
right.
done. You're done.
Yeah, I know about Dungeons and Dragons. That's right.
We should do a D&D session.
We've been trying to, but we don't have a freaking DM.
Hi.
Perfect.
Uh-oh.
I've been desperate for a D&D session.
We can just co-DM.
I love that. Now, looking back, I feel like they were implying it was bad because D&D is anti-religious. But we'll get into that
What?
in the next tangent.
Do you not know about that, John?
No.
Oh, back when it first came out, like the church was out for D&D.
Well,
like,
yeah,
But was
because
it like the church was out, or was it like, you know
well,
what
it's
I'm
kind of like in the
Yeah.
Stranger Things with Eddie. It's like, oh, this is like
Yeah,
devil
me.
worship,
demonic? Right.
demonic, etc. It's like
Ah.
why the church is anti-Ouija boards. It's
Right.
all
Like
anything
Harry
that's
Potter.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
no,
Right.
I have a family member who's like, I would never read anything with witches in it.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
I've had family members that are like, "You're reading Harry Potter."
Yeah,
I'm like,
because
yeah, I am. 'Cause I'm a
Expecto
freaking wizard.
Patronum.
Huh?
Expecto Patronum.
Yeah. That won't do much
you're
to him.
sucking out the joy in my life.
So you would know that if you're a real nerd.
I just made a really good thing. I'm
Yeah.
going to say it again. Because you're sucking the joy out of my life.
Ooh.
Expecto Patronum.
Oh.
Dementor.
Nice.
She also stopped watching TV because of him.
Huh?
I came home one day and she was
Trolling?
watching one of her favorite shows. I said something like, oh, awesome. Time for her favorite show rewatch. And she told me she and boyfriend had decided to stop watching television. So she was watching it for the last time ever.
Okay. All right.
If she had decided on her own to not watch TV anymore, that'd be whatever. But it seemed more like boyfriend's decision to me, especially because if she really had wanted to stop watching TV full stop, why would she rewatch her favorite show? Just watch the show when you feel like it if it brings you joy. I don't know, that just really rubbed me the wrong way. She also completely changed her diet, but I think that was more of an influence of her sister. Megan was previously a vegan and tends to change up her diet in that kind of way. But she started eating a piece of raw liver every morning and drinking raw milk. That's unhealthy. Don't do that.
That's not good for you.
That's not
Stop.
good for like unpasteurized milk.
Oh, there's a lot of people that do that though. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying like there's
Yeah,
like
that's
a community of people that like to do that.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway, going back to the boyfriend, anytime he visited and we had conversations, he just came off as very judgmental and holier than thou. And it seemed like he was always telling her what to do. All of that to say, I really didn't like Megan's boyfriend. Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah, this dude is like, look, it's one thing to like,
It's one
oh
thing
yeah,
to
I don't
insult
watch TV
D&D.
or whatever. Yeah, exactly. That's really where the line is
That's
drawn.
the line has been drawn.
Yeah. But like, I think it's like, look, he can not watch TV. He can eat whatever he wants. It seems like, I mean, she keeps changing all these things about her. I have to believe that he's pressuring her, influencing her to do that stuff. And that is just so not okay.
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely. I mean, if she wants to, why are you stopping watching TV?
Or
He's
best
not
case,
even going to know.
the best case scenario here is that he's doing all these things and she's just doing it of her own volition to impress him, but it's not her.
No,
And
it's not you. I think there is a certain, and there is another tangent, but before we get into that, I
Yes.
think there is a certain level of kind of adopting traits and habits of your partner that's totally fine. Like
Yeah,
if
it
your
happens.
partner has interests and you're like, oh, try them out, that's totally cool, but don't give up don't give up yourself for your partner. It should be kind of you're growing together.
Yeah. Ooh, I
Yeah,
like
they
that.
should support your interests, unless they're like really bad. But like D&D and like watching TV.
Yeah, it's not like you're making him watch TV or,
Yeah,
do D&D together.
the fact that he's changing every little aspect of your life and
Yeah.
just changing your entire self is a major red flag.
Tangent number 2, converting religions.
Uh-oh.
When we moved in together, Megan started going to this new church, a Greek Orthodox church that her sister had attended when she used to live in our town. This didn't raise any warning flags for me at first. Megan and I are both religious, so I figured it was just a different style of Christianity. I grew up non-denominational and still considered myself a Christian, but didn't go to church because I live in the South, and it's tough to find a church that isn't very conservative. She's always been more of a churchgoer than me, so her attending this church wasn't strange to me at all, until I met her church friends. One day, she invited me to go to lunch with a young adult group from the church. I said yes, because I thought it'd be a good opportunity to make friends, which is hard for me. There were 6 other people there besides Megan and I, 2 married couples, a guy whose wife wasn't there, and a single guy. Married couples aren't usually in my social circle, but I'm aware of the ingrained Southern expectation to get married young. So although it was a little foreign to my personal experience because I was expecting more of a college student vibe, it didn't bother me. I just wasn't expecting it. I still tried to join in the conversations until they veered into a very uncomfortable territory. Pretty soon after we got there, they all started talking about relationships, and they were asking the single guy about when he would find a girlfriend / get married, what he was looking for, etc. The 2 married women were really intensely asking him what he was looking for in a wife, and they seemed to want to set him up. He was being somewhat dodgy about what his requirements were, but eventually they got it out of him that he wanted a traditional wife who would stay home, have children, and be subservient.
And eat liver.
And eat liver.
Ugh.
And not watch TV.
Ugh.
I was
Watching TV's
shocked by
crazy.
this, but the other girls basically went, "Oh, well, that's okay. We'll find you a good trad wife." Plenty of women want to serve their husbands like that. They kept using the term trad wife in a positive way and were sure they would find the perfect wife for him.
And this is wait. This is a
Yes.
friend.
So
this
OP
is
is
her
at-
other female
Yes.
church friends, women
OP
church
is
friends.
at Megan's church, like youth group kind of vibe.
Right.
Which I think that I don't know. I feel like I'm at that age where most of my parties are like people my age and,
Yeah.
who are not really thinking about that. But then I've started to be invited to these parties where people are older and married and have kids. I'm like,
Disease.
no,
Stay away.
this is not me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't relate to this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is a weird vibe is what I'm saying.
Yeah. It's not. It's. I won. Yeah. The friend. I really quickly.
Yeah.
2 things. One, do you think now, because it seems like the friend is just going deeper and deeper, and this is your friend, right? Like, do you now at this point say something
Say
now that
something.
we've dove in deeper? And 2, speaking of lunch.
Keep
Do you
speaking,
want any?
John. Yeah.
Yeah, there it
I
is.
do.
That's what I was
I'm
trying to
so
get to.
hungry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So I will answer my own question. Great question, John. Thanks for asking. You're welcome, John.
You're such a good person, John. I want to be you, John.
Thank you, John.
Oh, John. No, you shouldn't have, John.
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 But yes, to answer my own question, the real question, I feel like this is so tough because like while this is your friend, while it does seem like she's like going down this path, it's also one of those scenarios of it's like, hey, at the end of the day, you can't control and shouldn't try to control what your friend is doing. You could maybe very respectfully say your piece if you think it's going down a, bad rabbit hole for her. I don't know if we're at that point yet, but it seems like we could be approaching the precipice, the tipping point of where one might need to say that.
I think you could bring it up now and say, hey, like it doesn't seem like these people are really your crowd. Like I don't want you to feel like you have to change yourself to fit in with people because you're perfect the way that you were.
Yeah.
I stayed silent for the rest of the lunch. Yummy. Until Megan was ready to leave.
Megan!
Liver.
She had driven us both there. I was also shocked by the fact that Megan, someone who I previously knew as an incredibly ambitious and independent woman who actively pushes against the idea that a man should be the dominant provider in the household, hadn't said anything about the conversation. Megan also had never been scared to express her opinion or argue with people. So I didn't say anything to her because it dawned on me at this time that it seemed like Megan's views might have been changing to align with that if she wasn't arguing against it, which I think is true. And at that point, it's just like, okay, maybe we're just not friends anymore.
Totally.
It soon became clear to me that this was true. My best friend is non-binary and uses they/them pronouns. And whenever they came to visit, it seemed like Megan was actively avoiding opportunities to hang out with us. All three of us were close friends in college, although I was closer to both of them than they were to each other. I soon realized after talking to some of our mutual friends that Megan had been avoiding my best friend because she no longer agreed with their identity. And at that point, Megan's just not your friend anymore.
Dude.
If they're being awful about your friend being non-binary, do you really want to be Megan's friend?
Megan needs to be
Megan. Yes. Okay, this may sound crazy, but that was all basically just backstory.
That is crazy.
That's freaking crazy. This is when stuff gets worse.
Oh.
What?
No.
We just got the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, we
guys.
haven't even started.
This is just Megan.
We haven't even started the story yet. I don't know.
In December of that same year, just 5 months after we moved in together, she told me she was planning on quitting her job and moving to the state her boyfriend lives in. This is like when you're watching a movie and they have like that, back in the past moment.
Yeah.
But it's like an hour long. And then they start the actual movie.
And then we cut to the
and
present
it's like
day.
20 years later. And you're like, wait, that wasn't the real movie?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what just happened.
I've never seen these movies.
What? You know,
Sounds
like
great.
when you're watching a movie and they have like the...
For an hour?
No,
It's
I'm
like-
joking.
Oh.
I'm
It's
like
saying
30
usually
minutes.
it's like a 5-minute,
Right.
like, oh, this is the backstory stuff. But in this case, it would be an hour.
See, I've seen so little movies. I was like,
Don't even-
Sophia's telling me there's movies with an
No.
hour of backstory.
No.
That it must be. It's just a
I'm saying,
5-hour
like,
movie.
if this were that movie, that it would matter.
It would be an
I
hour.
understood
It
it.
doesn't
John.
matter.
I don't watch enough movies to
So you
get
can
it.
understand my not even a joke. It's whatever.
It's just like an actual
It's
thing.
just
I'll watch more movies. I swear.
She told me, you know what John's doing? He's
What?
eating raw liver
Oh,
and not watching
No,
TV.
yeah, you're not watching TV.
I'm the trad wife.
She told me she was planning on quitting her job and moving to the state her boyfriend lives in. I was shocked. We were teachers. This was halfway through the school year, and if you break your teaching contract, you almost always have it noted on your teaching certificate so future schools know. She had always seemed focused, ambitious, and reliable to me, so the fact that she was considering quitting in the middle of the year seemed extremely out of character to me. Teaching can be a thankless job sometimes, and we both dealt with intense amounts of stress due to classroom behaviors, school climate, and long hours. So I absolutely understand the need to quit that job. However, I thought it was a bad decision to impact the future possibility of being hired at another school. We both have degrees in education, like this was the plan for her. So I was worried that she didn't seem to have a replacement plan before quitting a very secure and consistent job. Well, it seems like her plan is to be kind of a, have her boyfriend provide for her.
That
I
does
think that
seem to
seems
be the
like
plan.
maybe that's the plan.
How many livers do you gotta eat to be able to provide
To provide
for your
a lot of
trad
livers.
Sorry, is Megan getting like brainwashed? It seems like she's like
Dude.
completely
Well,
brainwashed.
absolutely.
wife? That's definitely.
But
what
like,
it
are they
seems
doing like an actual like brainwashing on her? Because it seems like 5 months ago, Megan was cool.
I
Like,
don't think brainwashing is necessarily as obvious sometimes. I think it's you get into a relationship, you start hanging out with different people. They start telling you, oh, no, you should do this. You should do this. Like, your life would be so much better if you did it this way. And then you, to fit in, start changing aspects of yourself to the point until you actually believe that's what you believe.
Yeah, I think it's unclear as of right now is if it's that, like her just like changing herself to like match the boyfriend and please him, or is the boyfriend like pushing her to try to become this person that she's not. That's because we haven't really heard much from the boyfriend. So that's the only thing I'm not sure about, but she's changing.
She's changing.
That's for sure.
Moving to the other state, though, I thought that was absolutely crazy. She's known this man for 5 to 6 months, and she was quitting her job and moving for him. Even though I was thinking all of this, I still didn't say anything negative to her. Now, I wish I had expressed my opinions, but I can't change the past. And then she dropped this bomb on me. This wasn't a I'm moving after our lease is up announcement. This was an I'm moving next month in the middle of our lease announcement. Not good. I started crying and freaking out a little bit. I cry at everything. This was not an attempt to make her feel guilty. She swore to me that because it was a decision that she felt she needed to make for herself, that I shouldn't have to worry about it at all. She's like, no, you don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry about me breaking the lease. It's like, you shouldn't worry about
Just
it.
don't stress. Like, it's not like I'm, leaving you here and, you have to
pay
cover
for
the
the
rent.
rest of
And
the
like,
lease.
yeah, just stop worrying about that. Just like,
worry.
let me make my decisions and it doesn't matter how it affects you.
I can see that you're crying and I think you should just not.
Yeah, maybe you could just like.
Have we thought about that?
Maybe just take, those tears falling. Maybe you could just like,
Suck them up.
just push them back into your eye holes.
And then you won't have a problem.
Stop it.
Stop it.
Stop.
She promised that I would not be left responsible for our full rent. We split it 50-50. And that while she wanted to look for a different person to take over her room, she wanted me to have full approval over anyone we found. And if we didn't find someone that I wanted to live with, she would continue paying her half of the rent, even though she wasn't living there through the end of the lease. That's good.
Yeah.
So stupidly, I agreed to this situation. I feel like that's a fair situation.
I was gonna say, like, she's not fully cuckoo. She sounds like, okay, she's got reasoning and she's gonna help you out.
Well,
Until
Well.
does she live up to those big lofty words?
I don't think so.
Nope.
Megan also had a cat that lived with us. She is the chillest, sweetest cat in the world. When she announced that she was moving, Megan told me that the place she found doesn't allow animals, so she has to leave the cat behind.
She's even giving up her pet for
Her
this guy.
pet? Come
Dude,
on.
I'm definitely
Come
gonna guess that
on.
he's trying to shape her and force her into this trad wife thing.
Absolutely. She asked if I wanted the cat, and I said absolutely. The cat comes back later. I felt like the only two things to say were either, okay, I'm okay with you moving as long as I don't get stuck with a rando roommate or 100% of the rent. Or, no, you're not moving and we're going to live together and you'll hate me until July. She was my best friend in college. I trusted her word that she would make sure we found a roommate I was comfortable with, or she would keep paying her rent. That is not what happened. We both went to visit our families over winter break. When I came back, she was prepared to move out, and about a week later in January, she moved. She hadn't found anyone to fill the room before she left, but was continuing to post online in various Facebook groups and websites searching for roommates. I did not participate in the roommate searching process. This is where I might have been in the wrong, but I felt like she's the one who left in the middle of our lease. She was no longer dealing with our extremely stressful jobs, and I had my half of the rent ready to be covered, so I didn't post anything or try to find a new roommate. The only thing, I don't think it is OP's responsibility, but I think you have to be a little bit involved just so you get the roommate that you want.
Yeah, maybe it's like,
She gives you options and you look through them.
yeah, like, hey, you do the work,
Yeah.
like post in the right places, but I have like ultimate approval of the person because I need to be living with this person who's going to be in there.
Exactly.
So it's like, yeah.
I think that, I've been in that situation where we had to get a subletter and stuff, and the person who was responsible for the rent found, did all of that stuff,
Yeah.
and then we jumped on a call so that we could all talk to that person and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, which I think is just the best way to do
What
it.
you got to do.
I really hate the idea of living with someone I don't know. It gives me crazy amount of anxiety. I was willing to try it if Megan found someone because I understood that it'd be bad for Megan to have to continue paying rent for 7 months in an apartment she wasn't living in. But I still couldn't make myself participate in the search. Megan would have conversations with potential roommates and they would come tour the house. I never met anyone who toured because they almost always came with the property manager during the day while I was at work. If they had been interested, our next step would have been for us to meet and for me to decide if I was willing to basically re-sign the lease with them. Eventually, Megan told me about this couple that wanted to move into the room. I said no immediately.
No.
I wasn't comfortable living with a couple because of a plethora of reasons. One new person was already going to be hard for me. 2 seemed impossible. I also wouldn't even want to live with a couple that I was already best friends with because we share a wall. That's a weird third wheel dynamic, etc. So I said no without meeting up with them. I think this is when Megan got mad. She thought it was rude of me to not even talk to this couple and see if I liked them. I was extremely busy with working on our big musical and was staying after school until 8 p.m. most nights and thought it would be a huge waste of time to meet up with these people when I know nothing they say would change my mind about not wanting to live with a couple. They could be the nicest people in the world, we could become besties, and I still wouldn't want to live with 2 other people in a 2-bedroom house. Near the end of January, Megan texted me a message saying that she thought it might be a good idea for both of us to terminate the lease early. I had, up to that point, the worst panic attack of my life.
Oh no.
She said she couldn't afford paying rent in 2 states at once when we haven't been able to find anyone serious about taking over her room. I freaked out about this for a while because where did she expect me to live? Did she want me to move in the middle of a tech week for a musical? I thought this was insanely inconsiderate. I then called my dad and we read over the lease together. It turned out that she had read the lease wrong. If we broke the lease, we would still be responsible for the rent for the months of February through July.
Whoa.
And would also have to pay an extra fee of $2,000 for breaking it.
Whoa. So basically,
You can't break it.
yeah, you still
it.
pay for all of the rent and a $2,000 like fine.
So there's literally no reason to break it.
There's bro, a
Yeah.
terrible lease. Terrible lease agreement.
I have like Megan, but I do think that OP needs to be a little bit involved in this process of finding a new person.
Yeah, again, it's like
Yeah.
understand the spirit of like, hey, you're the one doing this, so you should be the one handling it. But again, OP should be just in viewing it, overseeing
You gotta be
it.
a little bit, especially if
Yeah.
you have really specific needs and desires for a roommate.
Yeah.
Then go ask your friend. Say, hey, do we know anyone who's looking for a roommate or something?
Yeah.
So it just speeds it up. Yes, it is Megan's responsibility, but I think if you want a person that you like to live with you, then you gotta get in there.
One thing I would suggest to her is like, hey, look, you don't want to be on the hook for the whole amount of rent. What if like we either found someone who is like, that I like that was willing to cover like, more of the lease, or you get someone again that we like, but like you just pay like a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's like, cause it's like, hey, listen, you kind of got to deal with the consequences of your actions.
Yeah.
You're leaving this early. You're kind of leaving me hung out to dry.
Sure.
So like just do like a small portion of what you would have been paying. That way, like I have to pay less. It helps us get like, she could maybe even subsidize someone who's like a better fit.
Yeah.
Like there's, I don't know.
Yeah. I
One
she could
idea.
like get the money. I mean, yeah. This is, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of mistakes going on both ends here.
Yeah.
Especially this lease agreement.
Dude.
Why are you finding out about this
Now,
this
didn't you read the
far?
lease?
Not
Yeah,
at the
that's-
beginning.
That's definitely seems like it.
Yeah.
Neither of them did probably.
Yeah. Doesn't seem like it. Because, I mean, OP's like, oh, she didn't read the lease. Doesn't seem like you
Right.
did
Yeah,
either.
so I did, like, yeah.
I sent her that information and she admitted that she had read it wrong, but then got mad at me for not helping in the search for a new roommate. I kind of agree with. She called me immature for not responding to messages quickly and for not sharing her roommate search posts on Facebook, etc. Admittedly, I am really bad at replying to messages, but this was also an extremely busy time in my life. On top of my full-time teaching job, I was also directing the after-school musical, and we were in the crazy midst of that process. Crazy busy, basically just coming home to sleep and doing it all over again the next day. On January 25th, Megan sent me a message at 10:30 a.m. telling me about a girl. For this story, I'll call her Lucy, that she had found to take over the room, telling me a bit about her. At 10:32, she said, please respond as soon as you can so I can update Lucy. At 10:34, she sent me another text saying this should be the last roommate call I'd have to do and that she's sorry it taken me so long. I was teaching classes. I did not read it nor respond. I was in class. At 4:21 p.m., Megan sent me a text asking if I had seen it. I was in rehearsal. I did not read it or respond. Again, you had to have been able to check your phone.
Yeah.
Like, you get lunch breaks. You're telling me you don't look at your phone?
Yeah. Also, I want to say
I don't
earlier,
know.
I think while it would have been better for her to been involved in the process, I'm not necessarily like giving a strike against her, other than it's like just not in her own self-interest.
Yes, that's the thing. I think she's doing things that aren't in her own self-interest.
Right. Yeah. It's like, hey, help
Megan
yourself.
is the problem, but
Yeah.
you're making so many more problems for yourself.
Yeah.
What's more
Fair.
important here, the school musical or your living situation?
You're literally like your living situation that you said, like you could, I don't know.
That's causing you a panic attack.
Like my director in high school and middle school, sometimes they had to take a day off and there was always an assistant. So, do you have an assistant that could maybe take over for an hour while you sorted this out?
Do you think an assistant can make the greatest show on earth?
I guess
Do you
not.
really think that?
No, OP needs to have complete control of
Yeah,
the show.
that's right.
Yeah, I think OP's being a little silly.
Yeah. Little silliness.
At
I agree.
6:56, Megan tried to call me and I didn't answer. I was in rehearsal. She texted me again, asking about moving forward with this new roommate and wanted to make a group chat with the three of us to figure it out. 8:33 p.m., we were wrapping up rehearsal and she sent me another message asking again if I wanted to move forward with her as a tenant, asking me to please respond and saying the longer we make her wait, the higher chance she might find someone else. I really need you to start responding to me so I can follow up with her. She then said it's not fair for you to assume I'm going to pay half the rent when I'm finding food options for tenants. She has my full approval. We just need yours. I went through all of these messages after rehearsal, way more than what I retyped here. For the most part, I was majorly summarizing. And I may have been in the wrong for this, but I was a little petty and didn't respond right away.
Dude.
OP, stop!
Dude, this is not the time to be
Stop!
petty.
Oh my god, this is for you!
Be petty when it
You said
isn't
you had
against
a
your best.
panic attack about having to pay for the rent. She's trying to get a roommate for you.
But now I'm
You're a
getting
little
back.
bit the a-hole.
But I'm getting back.
Honestly, I'm a little bit OP's the a-hole here.
Really?
I mean, Megan is still the a-hole, for sure, but OP's a little bit the a-hole here.
I will say, and also in defense of Megan here,
Yeah.
Megan is
Megan's trying.
pretty on top of it.
Yes. Megan
Pretty-
gave a month in advance, which
Yeah.
honestly, I mean, it is pretty quick, and it sucks when people break leases.
Yeah.
But it's not like a week in advance.
I think she's doing a lot considering the circumstances.
Yes, I agree.
Which,
Yeah.
yeah.
Megan doesn't even have to help. Like, I mean, yeah, she does, but at the end of the day, Megan's like, I'm gone.
Megan's
Whatever,
gone.
break the lease.
Yeah.
If I have to pay it, I mean, I don't know if she knows
I
about the
mean,
2000
yeah,
thing.
like-
Like, Megan sucks for other reasons.
yeah.
Like, not liking her non-binary friends.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Megan's.
But but in this specific case, she's trying
She's
to sort
actually like
things
pretty
out.
on top
Yeah.
of it. And like the deeper in this process it goes, it's like the more Megan is like trying to like really say like, yo, hey, let's do this,
Yeah.
let's make this happen.
'Cause
Like,
it isn't fair for her to pay for half the lease when she's not living there.
yeah. But I mean, she did like
She owes it.
Even contract
Yeah.
aside, I'm like, it's like you guys and look, at the end of the day, you shouldn't not do what you want with your life because you had this, understanding with your friend to live in an apartment. Like,
Yeah.
do what you want with your life.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, that doesn't mean you don't have the responsibility of that understanding and agreement you had with that person.
Slyly Tove says Megan's more, but OP too. I think I'm on that train. I think I'm
Me
on the
too.
everyone's here.
OP kind of
Yeah.
Everyone here is being just a little goofy.
Little goofy. Hey.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why he's here.
That's
That's why I was on
we
board,
hired him.
guys.
Give him the big bucks.
I found the part where she said it wasn't fair of me to assume she would continue to pay her rent. Rude. It's like, I didn't
Rude.
like that. She had actually specifically promised that she would continue to do it if she didn't find someone. Yes, but she's trying to find someone and
Yeah.
you're rejecting everyone. I also want to point out that I never respond to messages right away, especially during the day while I'm at work. And she knows this about me, so I was surprised by the barrage of messages, making it seem like I had not responded to this for days. An hour later at 9:43 p.m., I got these texts. Girl, I need to give her an answer. Let's do a group call tomorrow. If we don't act fast, she'll find somewhere else. She's nice and normal. Just tell me you read all this and I'll make a group chat. Damn, OP, you're really making it hard for me to root for you. Megan continues, there's literally thousands of dollars on the line. I really need you to respond in a timely manner so we can move forward from all of this. I am doing my part by finding and vetting potential tenants. You said you wanted final say on anyone who might live there. I'm trying to give that to you, but you aren't being very cooperative. Lucy is a great choice. Let's have a call with her tomorrow and get her on the lease. I cannot be responsible for unpaid rent because of your negligence in communicating. When are you free to have a group call with Lucy? I was flabbergasted. So annoyed. I felt almost blindsided by the blame being heaped on me.
Oh my goodness.
It hadn't even been a full day and she was texting like I'd been ignoring her for months. Girl, you have. You have been. I also felt disrespected because when she decided to leave in the first place, she promised to not only let me approve any potential roommate, but also that I wouldn't have to worry about her half of the rent if we didn't find anyone suitable. I started worrying. I felt like she had decided for me that this girl was suitable, and now I no longer had a say. I wanted to reiterate that all of those texts were sent over the course of just one day. I responded the next morning.
This is priority number one.
Oh my God. Oh my God, you're frustrating. As soon as I got to work, basically saying that I was busy and she knew that. I told her I'd call the girl and that I expected her to continue paying the rent even if this girl didn't work out. She ignored the part about me expecting her to pay the rent. She then berated me for not responding in a timely manner and being immature about the situation. You were.
Yeah.
You were immature.
She literally admitted to being petty and intentionally not
Yes.
responding.
Like, it's so different if you're like, oh, I literally have like my phone. I lost my phone, or I haven't touched my phone. You saw the messages and decided that even though you were stressed and worried about this situation and paying all the money, that you were going to be petty? Come on. I messaged her about the girl in the group. I called the girl, but stopped responding individually to Megan. I didn't really vibe with Lucy, but at this point, I was so sick with stress that I just didn't want to deal with Megan and the chance that she wouldn't pay her rent anymore. So I agreed that Lucy could move in. We got the ball rolling on the new lease process, and after that, Megan sent me another text because I hadn't updated her yet. I have done all I can do. If you like Lucy, great. Please let her know that. If you decide you don't want her moving in, I will take that as you assuming responsibility for my room and rent. I found you a nice, normal, responsible girl. If this does not work out, you need to take ownership for that. If we take too long to let her know, she will find somewhere else. And by we, I mean you. You need to do the responsible thing and update me and Lucy. With that being said, if you decide for whatever reason you don't want to live with her, you are more than welcome to find a tenant on your own and cover the full rent in the meantime. We need to tell her tonight that we would love her to live there. If not, you are increasing the risk that she backs out. She also sent me a 3.5-minute long voice message calling me irresponsible once again and telling me to message Lucy. I had already messaged Lucy at this point. I also forgot to mention earlier, but Megan had also listed her room at a lower price than it actually was, which that's an a-hole move.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
OP cannot pay more rent for her
than what was agreed upon.
dipping on her, yeah.
When she was trying to get someone to take it. When Lucy reached out, the listing was $700. So Megan said she'd pay the remaining $300 each month. Okay.
Which, that's what I suggested earlier.
Yeah.
Which, if she actually does that, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Lucy and I re-signed the lease, and I thought most of my troubles were over. I was stressed about living with someone I didn't know, but at least I knew I just had to endure until July. Then I'd move somewhere cheaper on my own. In April, Megan messaged me asking if she could stop sending her $300 rent payments. No.
Dude.
No.
Absolutely not.
No. Basically, her proposal was that because we both paid $1,000 towards the security deposit, if she sent me just $200 in April and stopped paying her $300 after that, then I could just keep her half of the security deposit when we got it back.
You don't know if
You don't
like,
know
one,
you're going to get back.
Probably not getting all of it back, and two,
No.
you might get none of it back or not enough.
Yeah.
Dude.
No.
No.
And also, she could just have that. If you did get it back, then she can have that money back. That, Megan can have her half of the deposit.
Exactly.
So it's like, why are we? No, let's not.
No.
I was going to say no to this because I didn't want to be on the hook for an extra $300 a month up until we got the deposit back. But the next morning, she messaged again saying that because I hadn't texted back yet, I just took that as you are okay with what I said. Both these people.
Yeah.
If for some reason you have an issue with covering the extra rent, but then keeping the full deposit, you'll have to work it out with Lucy how you want to proceed with that, because I've sent you everything I owe you now. I hope everything is going well with you and Lucy and school and everything. I'm really sorry this all happened as it did. I really wish the best for you. I truly believe God uses every situation to teach us to grow, so I hope we both learn from this moving forward in adulthood and life.
She brought in the big G in this.
I would not want to live with either of these people. I knew she wouldn't really hear anything I had to say at this point, so I didn't respond. I made peace with the fact that I lost my best friend because she seems so unlike the person I knew, and that I'd be paying $300 extra a month so that I wouldn't have to deal with Megan anymore. I should also say, technically, I didn't owe Megan her half of the security deposit. She forfeited her right to that money legally when we took her off the lease and reassigned it with Lucy. I was still going to send it to her because, that's $1,000. And now on to the new roommate. The day she moved in, I was cleaning at the house of my grandmother who passed away, so I wasn't there for almost the whole time she moved her stuff in. When I got back with my dad to help me carry in the cabinet I brought home from her house, Lucy was on the way out. I greeted her and it was very awkward. She seemed like she didn't want to chat, and she left. I tried a couple more times throughout the first couple weeks to say hi if she walked through the living room or whatever, but for the most part, she stayed in her room and I was almost always at work. This was going to work fine for me. It would be awkward for 6 months until we moved out, but we could just exist separately in the house. I stopped trying to chat, but would still say hi or nod or smile if we crossed paths. From my perspective, I don't think she ever tried to initiate a get to know you or friendly convo.
I would hate that. I don't know.
I know people who do like this situation. I could not. I need to be like besties with my roommates.
Yeah, it's just, I hate it.
It's just I want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But maybe this works for OP.
Maybe.
A little while after she moved in, I came home one day and the house reeked of weed. I was in denial, hoping it was a skunk or something, but then it became so consistent, and I started seeing her go outside all the time and realized that she was smoking in the house.
Oh, it was a skunk.
It was some type of skunk. I have nothing against morally. However, I personally hate the smell and it gives me a headache. I feel you, girl. Same. I am very afraid of confrontation working on it, so I never mentioned anything to her and just suffered through it. Girl, just say, hey, do you mind smoking outside?
No.
Any sort of
Now I'm going to
communication?
do it right in your face.
I would see her
Just
going
say that.
outside to smoke, so I don't know if she was smoking in the house when I was gone or if it was just that strong somehow. But my friends who are more familiar with weed told me that they've never been in a house that smells so consistently and strongly of it. Even when people are legit stoners, they know how to manage the smell. Yeah, I have a lot of friends who like to smoke it. And when I was living with them, I was just like, very few times that it was ever in the house, I was like, hey, do you mind like doing that outside? It was so easy.
Yeah.
OP just doesn't do communication.
This is true.
I'm finding out throughout this story, OP just literally cannot do communication.
This is, yes. Correct.
Tyler says OP just avoids everything but work.
True.
Yeah.
That's how she speaks. She speaks through her art.
She speaks through her performance.
Her performance.
Ay, ay, ay. This drove me crazy, but I didn't say anything. But I didn't passive aggressively do anything about it either. Okay. OP's like, I wasn't passive aggressive.
I didn't move her weed jar in different places, just enough to where she thinks she moved it, but not so much that.
You have two options. Either
to me.
you should have said when you were meeting Lucy, hey, what's your take on smoking? What's your vibe on that? Those are like intro conversations when you're moving in with roommates, I feel like. I had all of those conversations with like the people that I live with. And then the other thing that you could have done is when you started living with her and noticing this, just say, hey, don't do that. And OP's done none of that.
Or we could
Complain about it in
all
silence.
of her skunk, sell it,
Yeah.
take the money,
Yeah.
sue her for, I don't know,
Sewer.
for why not?
Yeah. I was still basically only coming home to sleep, so I would light a candle in my room when I ate food, then had a lavender scented sleep mask when I went to bed. Pretty soon after, she started doing things that I thought were just a little kooky. And now I think they were passive aggressive messages that I just didn't pick up on. She moved some of my food out of one of the shelves in the pantry and put it in my Tupperware drawer. I noticed when I went to grab a Pop-Tart on my way out the door, but didn't think about it too hard because I was in a rush. And I'm not picky about where my stuff is in the kitchen. Then I came home one day and the side table with my record player on it that had been sitting in the living room was moved in front of my bedroom door. I figured maybe she had vacuumed or something and moved it, so I scooched it to beside my door instead of moving it back into the living room, just in case she wasn't done cleaning or something and was going to put it back. I don't know, but she never moved it and it stayed outside my door until I moved out. Despite awkwardness and some more strange occurrences like that, I was feeling better just because at least I didn't have to worry about Megan anymore. Then things got even worse.
Oh.
One Saturday, I slept in really late and got out of bed around 1 p.m. I wandered out to the kitchen to get some food and saw that the back door was wide open. I freaked out because my cat, the cat that Megan, the former roommate, had left behind, was nowhere to be found inside the house. The cat. That is not good.
Oh.
She must have gone outside. She's not an outdoor cat, and we live on a fairly busy road and just one block over from an extremely busy road. I didn't see her in the backyard, so I went back inside to ask Lucy how long the door had been open, if she saw the cat go outside, etc., basically to get all the info. I knocked on her door, and Lucy woke up from sleep. She said she had been asleep for hours and nonchalantly said, I must not have pulled the door shut. I went back outside without really saying anything, found the cat in the crawl space under the house, and lured her out with food. You need to have a conversation. Just have a conversation with her and say, hey, like, do you mind just being really, careful about leaving the door open just because the cat?
Or
separate
never talk to her again.
silence.
Never even say hi again.
Just don't say
like,
hi.
Literally, she'd be like, oh, hey, could you pass the salt? You're just like,
Don't even talk to her. Steal her food in increments.
I get what you mean. You're blinking Morse. Look at that Morse code. Thank you, John.
communicate like that. You're welcome. You deserve it. Whoa. Nice.
This discovery is made a little while into the future, but despite getting her back and getting a flea collar, I am cursed. And the cat got fleas after this incident, which to deal with. I'm lucky she's the best cat ever, and I don't think she ever left the vicinity of the house, but she was really freaked out when I found her. After that, I started keeping her just in my room, which I felt really bad about, but Lucy kept leaving the door open and didn't seem to care that I didn't want the cat to get out. We were also lucky to be living in a great neighborhood, but our city as a whole is not the safest city. Not only was I freaking out that the cat was missing, but I got really paranoid about things like the stove being on and doors being unlocked. So all I could think about all the time was, what if Lucy left the door open? What if someone just walks in the house? What if we get murdered in our sleep? Some of the worries were very irrational, but regardless, I felt unsafe in the house. This is when I got mad.
Oh, here we go.
This is when OP puts her foot down.
This is all right. Time to put the big girl shoes on.
Up until this point, I was mostly just depressed and anxious and felt hurt by Megan, but I got angry at Lucy and by extension Megan for engineering the situation in the first place. I still didn't even start a fight or anything with Lucy. I was just miserable and stayed in my room whenever I was home with the cat. I also tend to do things like go to the movies or the bookstore after work just so I could time it so I wouldn't have to see/interact with Lucy when coming home. This next event was during the next musical. Oh no, Opie's gonna be too busy now.
Oh no.
Oh, another musical!
It won't happen.
That we were working on at school. So once again, really bad timing in terms of my general stress and exhaustion levels.
Also, really quick,
Yes.
wouldn't it be hilarious if OP took this story and made it into a musical?
Oh, that'd be awesome.
And then-
Art imitates life.
That's what I'm saying.
we
Because
go.
then she could invite Megan and Lucy and then tell them through the musical what she has to
pulls a
communicate.
little euphoria.
Guys, sorry, this is like side tangent, but
Yes.
this is getting out of hand. I think someone's playing a prank on me. So my sister just texted my family chat
Yeah.
and wanted Mexican food.
Yeah.
Do you know what she called Mexican food?
What?
Megan food. Like it was like a typo, Megan food. And she's like, oh, I meant Mexican food.
You're being attacked on
I
all
don't know what's
sides.
going on.
What's
I don't
happening?
like this. I do not like this at all.
I think it's a sign.
Do
I don't know
need to,
what for.
Actually, I don't want to. No, I don't.
Don't
like
read
this,
into
guys.
it.
It's reading into me.
Do we have any Megans on the RSVP list for the Halloween party?
on,
I
guys.
really hope
Hold on.
not, because if I
Everyone
see her,
pause.
I'm
We're
like, I
gonna
can't
see
talk
right
to you.
now.
Pause the story. We're looking.
Sorry, guys. Sorry. I thought that was hilarious. I had to bring it up.
Damn.
because
That's, I mean, it is a little like, it's getting creepy now.
It's
Like,
getting creepy.
a little
Well,
creepy.
because when we were reading downstairs too, John,
Yeah.
it was like, this girl's name is M. And I was like, you know what? Just for the funny of it, let's just name her Megan.
Yeah.
So this is too much.
Guys, there's no Megans on this list.
But then.
Sorry about the whistle, guys. Whoop. Sorry about the whistle,
Whoa.
guys.
But then, see, you think you're safe, right?
We're
Like,
gonna invite
there's
a
no
Megan.
Megans here. We don't even need to invite a Megan because someone will show up if someone brings their friend name
Yeah.
up,
Plus one is going to be Megan. Yeah.
right?
They're gonna bring their Megan.
And then literally Keon meets her. He's like, has a time like, oh my gosh, we were just chatting for hours. It's all these common interests. She's so cool. She's beautiful. She's awesome. Da, 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 da. And then it's like at the end of the night, it's like 2 a.m. She's like, okay, now I finally gotta go. He's like, oh, what's your name? And then she says, Megan.
Not
That's what's gonna
happening.
happen.
I'm literally gonna ask if I talk to anyone tomorrow. I'm like, "What's your name?" Even
I
if
would
it's a
hope you
guy,
would
what's your
ask
name? Your
that.
name's Megan. I can't talk to you.
Yeah.
I would hope that you would ask their name if you were talking to
Yeah,
them.
if you're talking to them until 2 a.m., you gotta ask for their name.
You
Or
first.
you're
gotta
like,
ask
"Shh."
for their name.
Well, I mean, it's
No
a Halloween
names.
party, so I'm like, "Oh, I'm Max.
Yeah.
You're who? I don't know what."
you don't tell people your name at Halloween
I'll
parties.
tell them my name, obviously,
I
but
think I always tell people my name.
okay.
We're just
You
built different.
Gotta commit to the costume.
Yeah, commit to the bit. All right, sorry about that side tangent, guys. Really appreciate you all for support against Megan.
Woo! I was running late in the morning, and on my way towards the front door, Lucy slammed her door open.
Oh.
I thought that was an aggressive energy to start a conversation with, and then she basically said, I can't live like this anymore. You've been driving me crazy with all of the crap you leave around the kitchen, and your cat smells so bad and makes the house smell bad, and you never take out the trash. But with many more expletives. I was so confused. She had never once expressed any of these frustrations to me before. Who does that sound like, OP?
Nobody.
I was also very confused by the timing for a couple reasons. I had taken the trash out the night before. I hadn't cooked in the kitchen in months because I basically ate every meal at school or in my car, and I had moved all of the cat's litter box and stuff into my bathroom because of the letting her outside incident. I expressed these things to her, but admitted that I can take the trash out more often than I do and clean the microwave more thoroughly. I was living off microwave meals and hadn't touched the stove in forever, and pointed out that the stuff all over the kitchen was her food and plates and things. I didn't care that she had stuff out on the counters. It wasn't messy. We didn't have a ton of storage, so I figured the pile of potatoes in the corner on the counter and the stack of plates were just for convenience sake, instead of getting out the stepladder to put some stuff on the sparse top shelves. She did not like this, but I said I had to get to work and left to get in my car. I took a moment in my car to try and calm down, but I ended up crying and sitting there for a minute or two longer. And the lawyer princess says, plays the passive-aggressive roommate musical song.
Yeah, exactly.
She came outside and tapped on my car window to yell at me more. To paraphrase what she said, it was something like this. Wow, sorry, sarcastically. You're crying, but you've been so effing impossible to live with. You're so messy in common spaces. I know you told me that when we talked, but you also said if your roommate expressed a frustration about it, you cleaned immediately. She admitted that I said this when we first talked, and once again, I want to stress that she never told me she had any of these issues before this morning. The fridge is always full of your food, and you never made any space for me in the cabinets, and made me feel so effing unwelcome when I moved in. I wanted to tell her that I left the same amount of space open as when Megan and I shared the space, and Megan had more kitchen stuff than me, and that the day she moved in, I had just come back from cleaning out my dead grandmother's house, so I wasn't in a super cheery, welcoming mood. If she had asked me to clean out an extra shelf, it would have taken, 10 minutes? I would have done it easily if she had just asked. But I just said, I'll clean out a cabinet and left for work. I had a panic attack in front of a couple students, and during planning period, I called my mom to make a plan. When I got home, Lucy wasn't there. I cleaned out a whole cabinet of plates and mugs and things and put it in a box that just stayed on my bedroom floor until I moved. I extensively cleaned the kitchens and living room, removed pretty much any decorations / non-essentials that showed any personality and put them in my room. I started packing moving boxes that night. I was the most depressed I've ever been in my life, and I hated my life so much. I knew I had to just leave the second it was possible. After the school year ended, I finished packing up my boxes, and I moved out all my stuff at the end of May. So technically still had 2 months on the lease.
Right.
I kept paying my more than half of the rent, but drove for 3 days across the country with a suitcase and my cat to my parents' house. I stayed there almost the whole summer, but because of my financial ties to the house and a slight worry that we won't get the security deposit back if I'm not there to make sure the house stays nice, I was still doing pretty bad mentally. As the summer was ending, I came back to town and texted her telling her that on the day before our move-out check, I would come to do a final clean and take the box of cleaning supplies that I left. I asked when she would be moved out so I could go without being in her way, and she said around 5 p.m.
You did it like no, you got to go like way before.
Way before.
What if it's like an absolute mess?
Yes!
And now you have dude.
OP, what are you doing? I was staying at my dad's house and had to drive 2.5 hours to get there. I arrived around 5 p.m. and she was not out of the house. In fact, it didn't look like a single box was even packed. I asked why she wasn't done yet, and she said because it's raining and her boyfriend only had a truck to move her out, and we had to check out at 9 a.m. the next morning. And I had a 2.5 hour drive, so I told her I just work around her stuff. And sorry that I can't do the final sweep. She said I wasn't allowed to open my door. What the hell? She said that since I left, my cat left behind fleas. I had gotten rid of the fleas. I will admit they're awful to deal with. There were probably some in the house when I left.
Say it over here. What do you got?
OP.
There's probably a few fleas left when I left.
OP. You're a bad roommate. You're a bad roommate. But she said she'd been vacuuming and bug bombing and trying desperately to get rid of them. There were no animals in the house for the last 2 months, so I feel like fleas should be dealt with. I don't know. Girl.
Dude, I had a friend who they got fleas. It was like one of those like 4 apartment complexes, so super small. They had like one shared, washer dryer unit, and some crazy lady with unkept, uncleaned got fleas in the washer dryer. Then it got in everyone in the apartment complex, and he said it was so insanely difficult to get rid of.
Yeah. Fleas are very difficult.
Yeah.
Anyways, I told her I had to get home. I couldn't wait around for her to pack and move out from start to finish. It was already 5 p.m. She said, well, sorry, but it's not my fault you waited until the last possible minute to deal with this. Which is true.
Yeah.
This is true.
Yeah.
Me? I'm not the one who hasn't started packing. I moved out my stuff in May. She also said that there was furniture that Megan left behind. She had advertised the room as furnished that she was not going to deal with. I drive a really small 2-door car. I cannot fit multiple furniture pieces into it just because she decided she didn't want the stuff that had been left in her room for her to use as furniture via the agreement with Megan.
Bro.
I was angry, but when I get overwhelmed, I just get emotional and cry. So this is the theme of the story. So I went to sit in my car while she went to rent a U-Haul or something. I called my uncle, who came over with his truck, and we just loaded all of Megan's stuff in the back in the rain and took it to Goodwill/the dump the next day based on how it fared in the rain. I wiped down and swept my room/bathroom, but her stuff was still everywhere in the common spaces. By the time I finished waiting for my uncle to arrive and then dealing with Megan's old stuff and the cleaning, it was around 11 p.m. I had to be up at 6 a.m. the next morning in order to come back to turn in my key the next day, so I left and prayed that Lucy would effectively clean when she finished getting out her stuff. This would be a good time for you to maybe call your landlord and say, hey, we need another day. Is that okay? We're having a little bit of a tough time moving everything out in a timely manner. Is that okay?
Sophia, you're forgetting one very important key thing.
Doesn't communicate.
That takes communicating.
That takes communication.
I have to talk. I have to say, I can't go. That's what I want to do.
No.
I just want to just make mouth movements with no noise coming out.
Yeah.
But instead of that, you're telling me I have to use my vocal cords to form words and sentences that make sense to go back and forth. I'm not going to do all that.
Nope. Too hard.
I can't do it.
She did not. Not only did she not deep clean anything, she left behind multiple pieces of furniture and bags of trash. We did not get back our security deposit.
The whole thing? Oh, dude.
We also owed money after that because they had to hire people to haul away stuff, deep clean, and repaint because of how much she smoked in the house and to get rid of the fleas. I admitted that the fleas could have been my bad.
Might have been me.
OP.
Well, I mean, didn't Lucy let out the cat?
Lucy let out the cat, totally her bad, but you can get fleas off of a cat.
Oh, yeah.
If you actually do it.
Yeah. Or you could have communicated, hey, you let the cat out, Lucy. Could you pay for the flea medication or get rid of the fleas? You did this. It was an inside cat.
And again, this involves communication.
But that's step one.
Also, I'm sorry. We know that Lucy is, a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you go and check that this was all being moved out?
Dude.
It's that you have to do it, but do it so that you don't have to pay $1,000.
Exactly. Don't put things off on other
Come on.
people. It's okay, yeah, it should be pretty much everything we've seen here their responsibility, but it's
But they
if you
didn't
don't
do it.
If they didn't do it, and if you don't come in and check, the only person you're hurting is yourself.
Yeah. It's like when people aren't going to do things, then you need to step up and do it, and you can't complain that it wasn't done when you had time to fix it. Obviously, they're the a-holes for these things, but come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Because we didn't get the security deposit back, I didn't get any money back to cover the money Megan owed me for the rent last 4 months. So I was out $2,000. I'm lucky that even though I'm a teacher, not the best paid of professions, I don't have any dependents or anything, and I was able to stay with my parents for free over the summer, so it didn't catapult me into financial ruin. Things have been a little tighter than I liked the last couple of months, but I'm fine, and oh my God, I'm fine with you guys joining us live every weekday at 3 p.m. PST. Just tap our profile.
I'm not.
And there is a little bit left of this story.
Oh, the gift that keeps giving.
Oh my God. Lady Jade Master says OP must have really bad anxiety because they are a wreck. Yeah, indeed. Lori says, OP, the fleas were your problem. Yep. Man, oh man. I literally OP made so many mistakes in the story. So many mistakes.
I was going to say, well, it's funny when John's not there. I think everyone here is just
everyone
little
here
stinky
sucks.
butthole.
No, everyone here sucks.
Yeah.
But the only reason I'm riding on OP is because it's from their perspective.
Yeah, they're the only person we can talk to.
Yeah, the only person we can talk to, and the person who has consistently kind of made it seem like nothing is their fault.
Yeah.
Obviously, Lisa and Megan for different reasons, but OP is the one here who's standing in front of us and being like, it's their fault. I did nothing wrong. How could they do that to me? And yet over and over just.
And in Megan's defense, Megan did say okay, hey, I was the one to do this, so let me try to find someone. Let me do this. Again, Megan had her other thing that went back on her word on the payment and stuff, but she did try to stay on top of it. She did try to communicate a lot, where the OP did
zero,
almost zero.
I feel like Megan owes me the $1,000.
Come on.
Girl, I feel like she doesn't. I don't like Megan, but I feel like she doesn't.
Also, like once again, OP is making a decision. Like if she's gonna start coming after Megan for the $1,000,
Should have done that way sooner.
should have done it way sooner. And I feel like you're only setting yourself up for more headaches and like frustration. The same way you could have gone in earlier to clean. Headaches and frustration. You could have been involved in the roommate finding process. Headaches and like OP just keeps
So many
putting
times.
herself in these situations where she.
If you wanted Megan to pay the $300 a month, say, hey, no, you still need to pay for that because you undercharged the room.
Come on.
My
Come
favorite
on.
thing is OP just keeps pointing the finger at everyone.
Yes.
It's like, they did it. They did it.
She's not taking
I
any
guess the fleas were
responsibility.
my bad, but they still did it. Like,
Yes, nothing is OP's fault.
It's the fleas' fault. It's the fleas'
Yeah.
fault. It's not my fault. It's the cat's fault,
No.
which is Megan's fault. So it's ultimately Megan's fault.
Put a finger at a mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
My family and friends say she should pay the other $1,000 of the security deposit because she was the one who vetted Lucy.
I think the story broke Sophia.
It did. I hate this person. And swore she's a responsible and nice roommate. Okay, just real quick. You can never tell if someone's actually a responsible and nice person unless you live with them.
What?
Again, like I don't like Megan. She is an a-hole. But Megan cannot tell whether or not this person is a good roommate from a couple interactions. That's just how like living with anyone that you don't know or even that you do know is a risk.
You can't guarantee me that this person will be perfect, even though you just met them a few days ago and like talked to them for like an hour.
Yeah.
You can't give me 1,000% guarantee.
Come on.
Huh?
I met him on the internet. I trust it.
But I just don't want to deal with it anymore. I know that she would just see it the way she wants to and blame me for all of it. I know there are parts of this that I could have absolutely handled better, but at least it's over. Thank God. Thankfully, I'm now living with my cat and previously mentioned best friend in an apartment that I can afford by myself. Oh, the cat is your best friend.
Oh, no.
That I can afford by myself when they move out for graduate school. Oh, no. Okay. You are living with a human person. Sorry. Okay. And I'm much happier in my life than a few months ago. I can't believe I wrote this much about it, but I feel like it's an outlet to explain my side of the situation and feelings to Megan almost. I'm sure she's not on Reddit or anything, but it felt good to type it all out and hope that maybe one day she'll understand how she made me feel. Also, if I was really in the wrong in any of these situations, I would love to know.
Yeah, Sophia, tell him.
You were.
Yeah, tell her. Yeah.
In almost all of the situations. I feel like I handled it to the best of my ability and tried to be understanding, but it truly was the worst year of my life. So I might have been unable to see if my behaviors were causing any of the tension. Wow, I can't believe I wrote that much. Peace out. And that's the end of that story.
That's how you end it. Peace out, Girl Scout.
Peace out.
See ya.
Wow. So this is just 3 people I would hate to live with. 3 people I would never want to live with.
So like truly, honestly, is this just the Olympic game for worst roommates, of all time?
3 of the worst roommates.
I have to ask, can
Yes.
we rank them really quickly?
Yes.
Like who's the
Yeah.
worst? Tell me.
Okay.
It's tough, right?
This is tough.
I
They're all really
actually
bad
had
for
this
different
question earlier too.
reasons.
It's like, how do we rank the 3?
Yeah.
Like the thing is that I really hate OP.
Yeah.
I really hate OP.
Low-key, both of them on communication, OP was absolutely the worst. Because
Yes.
eventually the 2 of them, not the best way ever, but they
I think Lisa
communicated
and OP
something.
were the worst at communication.
Yeah. Yeah.
Megan.
It was Lucy, right? Or
Lisa?
That was
Lucy.
Yeah. Lucy and Megan were the worst at communication. I feel like the only bad things that we heard about Megan, I mean, not as a person. She seemed
Yeah.
like she had a lot of problems as a person.
Yeah.
But like roommate wise,
Yeah.
it seems like she broke the lease, but gave a month in advance and was paying.
Mm-hmm. But then later went back on that.
Yes.
I would say maybe.
I want to put Megan in the middle.
Yeah.
I think
Megan
Megan's in the
number 2?
middle. I think Megan's in number 2.
Megan is
So then
number
it's like
2.
Lucy or OP in the first spot.
Yeah.
I have my ranking.
Okay, what's
Tell
your
us.
ranking?
Okay, OP's number 1. I mean, OP, you just...
OP's the worst because she made me read this story.
The 7,000 plus
Yeah.
word story.
Yeah.
Am I the worst?
Also, we did get like little bits, nuggets and stuff about OP admitting that she was really messy. I just want like
Unreliable
she glossed
narrator.
She glossed over that, but she did not deny any of the messy allegations.
I'll tell you my reasoning why, again, OP is number 1.
Yes.
Because OP just didn't do anything
Yeah.
here to she's like, you know what, I'm gonna be petty. I'm not gonna figure this out. She took no initiative to find a roommate really
Yeah.
until the very end where she's like stressing herself out. Like Megan had her thing and Megan's sure. But OP was the constant denominator of just like, you're doing this to yourself.
Yeah.
You're shooting yourself in the foot. Someone said that in the comments. You're shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
I
So-
think in terms of maybe worst roommate, just in general, like, if I were just experiencing them in the wild, it would be Lucy, Megan, OP in that order. But in terms of whom I hated, it's OP, Megan, Lucy.
Yeah, I feel like it seemed like Lucy was like more annoying to like actually live with day to day, which is frustrating. But then I really hate like, and again, I get it, but like I do hate like Megan just like leaving OP to like.
That's why I think she's just second for me.
I think
all
I'm
bad.
I think I'm OP, Megan, Lucy.
Yeah.
They're kind of tied though. Megan and Lucy are tied because like abandoning you is and then living with the person that sucks.
Sucks.
There we go. But that's
There
it.
you have it. That's the end of that story.
That's the end.
Of our food
I think
here.
Sophia's broken.
Oh, we're
Do I
gonna.
take a little bean break?
We're about to see. But how about we sign off?
Yes.
The good people, guys.
Give the good people what they want.
If you love us, make sure to subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.